Hello everyone, this is Yana Smakula, member of the Spellbinders design team. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create an elegant Christmas card with a fun window and a hidden sentiment using Spellbinders 6x6 Holly Deco accent dies, as well as create a flake set and 6x6 Matting Basics A dies. I will also be using lovely lavender cardstock and linen thread from Spellbinders. Begin working on your card by die cutting a panel out of craft cardstock with gold polka dots using the largest die from the 6x6 Matting Basics A set. Make sure to tape your die in place using a piece of washi tape and send it through your granite caliper machine using the cutting sandwich. You will also need to emboss this piece, so go ahead and use the embossing sandwich as well to give this panel some additional detail. Use the same square die and cut an identical panel out of vellum. Skip the embossing part for this piece and just do the cutting. Next, use a piece of lovely lavender cardstock from Spellbinders and die cut a beautiful 6x6 Holly Deco accent frame. Notice that I have two dies here on my panel. I'm cutting the accent piece and the label, creating a frame for my project. Again, make sure to tape the dies down to your paper to keep them in place while cutting in your machine. Make sure to also emboss this element to give it additional detail and dimension. Set the die cut and embossed label element aside for the moment and grab your vellum panel and your lavender panel. Place the lavender frame on top of the vellum panel, align it on top, and place the label die inside the frame and tape it in place. We will need to die cut an identical opening in the vellum panel, and to make sure we cut it exactly where we need it, we're placing the lavender frame on top to work as a guide for us. The frame is not going to get cut again, it's only going to tell the die where to cut, so to speak. You should end up having the following pieces for your project: a craft base panel, a vellum panel with a die cut window, a vellum label, a lavender label, and a lavender frame. Now go ahead and fold the vellum label in half to find the center and cut it into two pieces to create two closing elements or two shutters for our window. The next step is to heat emboss the sentiment onto a lavender label. Prep the surface for heat embossing using an anti-static powder pouch. Ink up your sentiment using clear sticky ink, stamp it, cover with gold embossing powder, and heat set it. You can now set this element aside. To create some dimension for our card, go ahead and use foam adhesive squares and add those to the back of the lavender frame. I had to cut some into smaller pieces to hide them behind the frame and make sure they won't be visible. Once you have your adhesive in place, go ahead and adhere the frame on top of the vellum panel. Next, add some more foam adhesive to the back of the vellum, trying to add it to the same spots where you've previously added adhesive, and then adhere that onto your craft panel. If you don't like having too much dimension in your cards, you can skip adding foam adhesive to the vellum and just use regular adhesive instead. You can now add this to a card base. I created mine out of lovely lavender cardstock from Spellbinders, and it measures 6x6 inches. It's a top folding card, but a side folding card will work just as well. Now it's time to work on those window shutters for our project. Score about 1/4 of an inch on the die cut side of the vellum shutters using a scoreboard. This will allow the shutters to be easily opened and closed on your project. The next step is going to take some time, as you will need to hand stitch the vellum and the lavender pieces together like so. The little holes have already been pierced for you by the die, so that shouldn't be a problem. They are spaced evenly and nicely on the panels, making hand stitching a very simple task. I'm using white thread, but you can also use lavender or gold thread for this. If you find stitching to be a very long process, you can also go ahead and use some glue to adhere those together. So here's a look at my label with the attached shutters. They easily open and close. And it's time to add this piece to our card. I'm simply going to adhere this one inside the window using regular adhesive. Next, thread the Celebrations linen thread through the frame to create closure for the window and tie into a cute little bow. You will also need to die cut a little snowflake out of craft cardstock to add on top of the bow for a more festive look. There's no need to adhere the snowflake in place, simply use a mini wooden clip. Finally, adhere our festive panel onto a card base and embellish with white pearls. Our elegant Christmas card with a fun vellum window and a hidden sentiment using Spellbinders 6x6 Holly Deco accent dies is finished. I hope this video has given you some ideas for your holiday card making with Spellbinders. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section below. And be sure to subscribe to Spellbinders YouTube channel for more education and inspiration. Thanks for watching. Bye!